Alright, hold on. Hope everyone is doing well. Hello, surprise stream, everybody. Hello. Surprise, surprise. Even a surprise for me. Hold on one second, actually. I'm gonna go ahead and just mute myself real quick. I gotta take care of something. Alright, I'm back. I was in my work shirt and I wanted to change real quick because gross. Anyways, real quick, switching back. Hello, hello, hello. Hello everyone. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. I'm gonna go ahead and share the link because nobody knows I'm live right now because I wasn't supposed to be. This is a surprise even for me. Hold on. Let me get to the link real quick and post this so everybody knows. Hello, 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 everybody. Here we go. Okay. The movie has just come out, like, it's barely even premiered. I mean, so I'm gonna be light on spoilers for now, but I have things to talk about. I have things to talk about, friends. Good, bad, and in between. All the things we have learned to expect from Five Nights at Freddy's. Love it. Alright. Hold on. I am live. Alive. Talking. Fnaf 2. Movie. Okay, go ahead and post that. Let me pull all this over here. Okay. Here, I'm gonna go ahead and just so we have like a visual outside of my face. Let me go ahead and pull up just like my mind map. Something FNAF related that we can stare at while I talk. I yap. Alright. I hope everyone is doing well. I'm very excited. I'm very pumped. I have a lot of energy now that I've seen the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 movie. No spoilers for like the first little bit. And then we'll get into, after I give like my general thoughts and opinions, we'll get into more specifics. But definitely would suggest going to watch the movie again, or like, not again, I will definitely be seeing it again, 100%. Okay, so this is just FNAF related things to look at. I thought that, like, after this, if I feel up to it, I'm like a little bit tired, but I'm also pretty pumped up and ready to talk about this stuff. I also wanted to talk about like new stuff found in like the Ultimate Guide 2.0. So this is a multi-dual stream purpose. You have a purpose. Wait. Oh crap. Wait a second. Oh crap. Oh crap. Oh crap. Oh no. Oh no. It's all okay. I am already starting to see the implications of this movie and how it might parallel a lot of new things. Anyways, let me I'm trying to like figure out how to work this. I'm not very good at streaming, if you haven't guessed. Hello everyone though. So, guys, I am so excited to talk about this movie. If anything, good, bad, or in between, this movie is gonna be really fun to talk about. Personally, I really liked the movie for the most part. I do have, guys, I have some criticisms, but they're not bad. They're more questions. I have questions. We're not going to get into those immediately because I want to give like a spoiler-free little bit, because I'm sure there are plenty of you guys who are curious. Is the movie worth seeing? The answer is yes. Go see it. Go support this. Go give Scott Cawthon your money, guys. Go just pour out your money. Pour out your wallets. Go buy the popcorn buckets or whatever. I wish I could get one of those, actually. Have you guys seen those? Like the popcorn buckets? Like, those things look really cool. And I don't have one because my theater is fancy, but not that fancy. I'm not, like, it's not an AMC. I do think that it'd be cool to, like, drive out to one, maybe? I don't know how far away it is. Anyways. Okay, here, I'm going to stop the music for just a moment. And I'm gonna like just flat out tell you guys my thoughts. First of all, for context, I just saw the movie, like just now. Like I just got out of the theaters, got home, started streaming. Like this is right off hot the press. So my opinions on this movie may change. It may fluctuate based on, because I probably will end up at some point either tomorrow or Saturday going and seeing it again. The theater I went to was relatively full. It was like a little bit, not really a whole lot. There was there were some reserved seatings, and I got to sit next to a lot of people who very clearly were Fnaf fans. So it was a good time. It was very fun. Hello there. Wait, hold on. I don't know. Hold on. I actually might be able to read this. My apologies. I am an English speaker primarily. I do see Michael Afton. And that is that Spanish? My apologies. Okay, here. Yar, hello, Brian. Welcome. Hello. Oh man. I'm so excited. Dead Body by Michael Afton? FNAF song Iron Master Dead Body by Michael Afton. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, actually. Natalia. If that's how you pronounce it, my bad. I'm not sure. But, guys, so spoiler free first. Wait, hold on. Okay, we're good. I thought the stream like completely cut out, and I think that it kind of did. Please do not spam Natalia, or I will have to probably delete some of these messages. I saw it, I was able to translate it. You don't have to put it in there again. Hold on. You were connected to the stream. Huh. Okay. Anyways, that does not matter. Okay. You, at this point, are spamming. So I'm going to move these messages because you are spamming. I don't appreciate it. I want you here, but please do not spam. I'm going to delete these next two messages. If you do it again, I'm going to have to block you from commenting altogether. And I don't really want to do that because I want to have a conversation. I'm able to read your chats. However, I don't want to have to keep deleting the reoccurring ones. I don't know if something weird's happening with my connections, my connectivity. I hope not. I apologize if there's any issues, because I'm seeing like there's some issues with chat, apparently. Let me go ahead and refresh this real quick. Sorry, guys. Okay. Weird. All right, we're back, I think. Anyways, okay. So, initial thoughts about the FNAF movie. The first movie was great. Like, I thought the first movie had its issues as far as the first movie I thought was really, really good. As like a FNAF fan, I got all the concepts, all the things, the dream theory, all the Easter eggs that they were going for. It was a really, really good time. Like the first movie was like a global event. I think the second movie, it might lose some people. I'm not gonna lie. It's a good movie. I know hey, Natalia, I'm sorry. I warned you. I don't know if you're I hope you're not a bot, but I'm going to probably assume you are. Yeah, I'm going to hide you. Put user in timeout. That's just permanent. Sorry for this stream cuz that's not okay. I don't really want that. My bad. Anyways, moving on. So, the movie itself was a trip, okay? Go see it. Do not spoil yourself using the stream. I just need to get this out, okay? I just need to talk. I just need to, like, give my opinions, get them on the internet, and see what people think about it. I know there's very few people who have actually, at this point, probably have seen it yet, but probably quite a few people in general, hopefully, because I hope that it's doing well. This is a movie that I'm going to warn you is... I don't even know if this is maybe a spoiler. I know what Scott's doing with this movie, okay? Scott's a hack, man, in the best possible way, okay? Don't misconstrue that. Scott's a hack, though. I know what he's doing. I've read his books, all several dozen of them. Okay, I know Scott's writing. I know what he's doing here. Scott did like primarily the script writing for this movie. He was the single attributed author for the script, right? Screenwriter. And you can tell there's a lot of the dialogue, and this is like a criticism of it. There's some of the dialogue that is kind of hilariously awkward. They perform very well with it, but it's like it's very awkward. You can tell this is like Scott's writing. It's fun for somebody who has read his books and like knows his personality pretty well, and somebody who's gotten adapted to it. Like, I love the books, even the weird things. Like, look, guys, I have no credibility. I'm the guy who like defends Phasgu, okay, as a concept. I have no credibility within this community, but that's just like, I just love the concepts that Scott comes up with. It's just wacky, it's weird. I love the sci-fi elements, and you can tell that Scott really wants to do a good blend of like fan service while also getting really weird with it. And with what you can tell, like from the game's layout, right? Like FNAF 1, you look at the story, it's very uniform, very simple from its presentation. You click on a certain camera every so often, and an Easter egg will appear where there's a newspaper clipping. It explains the story, right? And there's other Easter eggs that, like, Golden Freddy explains where the fifth spirit comes in, right? And, like, stuff like that. It's very simple. You have, like, the autobiography of Yoji, with the backwards text, like, giving a little bit more depth to it, with the concepts of, like, maybe there's some weird supernatural stuff going on, and then that leads you down the rabbit hole, right? With FNAF 2, there's a lot of things that he added to that, and it definitely mirrors the way that this game was translated into film, right? There's a lot of things that I think this community is going to have to discuss about this movie in relation to how it fits in with the games, because one of the things that I realized, I was watching a interview with Matthew Lillard, and I thought it was fascinating because one of the things he was talking about his relationship with Scott, and how like Scott's very active on film, like on set with his like, you know, Matthew Lillard was talking about him, like talking about his character with Scott, and something that he said that interests me personally as a FNAF fan is he mentioned, like, okay, the fans have their theories, of the story. They have their layout of the story. Scott has his own, and those are two very separate things. The movies are, according to Matthew Lillard, a direct parallel in canon with the games, right? And you can tell that. you can very, very much see the strokes that Scott's doing with him relating certain things from the movies to the games. There are some wild connections that FNAF 2 the movie draws. Like, the lore for this movie is crazy. And it's something that I feel like I'm going to have to watch it a couple times to really understand and to get his vision for what he's trying to put out there. It goes way too fast. Like, Scott, slow down. Give us a moment to breathe. There was like the first 15 minutes. First of all, the introduction to the movie is probably the best part of that film. It is like visually, and like it's scary. Like, it's genuinely unnerving to watch. I was on the edge of my seat for the first part of it. And there was like several other parts where like Scott, like, the movie really got me, and I was like, this is really cool. I really like with the angle that they're taking this. It's very different from the games, it feels like, or at least our perception that we've built of it. And it gets me to think about, like, are we wrong, right? And I think that's interesting territory to get into with this fan base, because we can be stubborn with a lot of the like core principles that we are like, this is true, this is something we know. This movie kind of challenges a lot of those conceptions of characterizations of specific characters. So like, when you're watching this film, just remember that like there's a lot of things that it's hard to say it without thinking in the back of my mind, Scott, I know what you're doing. You're a hack, and I know it, and I know your tricks, and I know what you're doing here. I know what you're doing. Man, I love Scott. I love him. He's great. But I know from his previous writing what this movie is. And I'm gonna explain it a little bit later and get into it. But for now, hold on one second. Oh, I didn't want this publicly on there. Well, publicly is, no, it's not really issue. I just figured, I was like, oh, the puppets. Wait. Oh my gosh. Yeah. I wanted to check and see if anything was on there. Hmm. Yeah. It's a weird thing where I have to like feel like I have to like collect my thoughts. Um Man. But I definitely want to hear from you guys. I know there's nobody in here right now, as far as I can see. But that's alright. But overall, I thought the movie was good. It definitely had some like awkward pacing, awkward dialogue. The lore is confusing and weird. It's all the things I love from Scott. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's just like, the critics are gonna hate it. There's gonna be some fans that maybe don't like it, but I feel like this movie could still do very, very well. There's definitely some of the kills and stuff are like really violent. For like, especially in like comparison to the first movie. I thought they were gonna do more of them, but like there was just some like moments though where I was like, all right, that's pretty good. Also, can I just say something? What is up? Scott has this weird perception of the world where every school in the United States has a robotic, like an advanced robotics curriculum. It's just very funny to me. If you read his stories from Frights and Tales, you know what I'm talking about. Every single kid and protagonist of Five Nights at Freddy's is some sort of robotics enthusiast. I just think it's the funniest thing. It's just so funny to me. Oh man, there are some like some weird edited, like weird and wacky moments, but like for the most part, there are some unnerving parts that are gonna get you at the edge of your seat. And there's enough there to where I think that it's an improvement from the first, like 100%. Obviously, I just had a lot of fun with this film. It's really, really fun. It gets you at the edge of your seat in certain aspects of it. There's one specific character, which I think you can guess, who is a lot creepier than I thought she would be. And her motivations for why she's doing the things she's doing are complex and weird. Not complex in the fact that they're complex in that I think they're complex. More complex than they... I'm rambling. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, man. Hold on. It's so funny, man. This movie is great, though. Um, yep. But I hope everyone's doing well. Oh, man. Here, I'm gonna return the music back on, just so we have a little bit of that. Hold on. What song should we play? Breathing corridors. Uh, this is appropriate. Here, can we... I wish I could play the version that they had in the movie, but it's definitely copyrighted. Oh, it's completely stalled. My bad. Okay. It's trying. Okay, there we go. Well, it's loading. It's doing something. I don't know. Okay. But like, as far as like, I don't know. Like, I know I put spoilers in there, but like, I don't. Man, it's hard. It's hard because like, a part of me is like trying to piece everything together, in my head. There's some weird... It's always the case with William Afton, especially with like what's his motivation. Oh, my Spotify's doing a thing where it's like confused still, which I still don't get. Okay, is he... I was thinking it's not as ambient as I kind of wanted it to be, but maybe I'll just play this part. Yeah, that's not as... That's fine. Okay. But yeah, so William Afton is a weird character whenever it comes to like motivations, because there are certain things that this movie seems to imply that everything is always veiled within like some sort of weird Easter egg that has like some sort of referential significance within the series, that I just have to be like, Scott, what are you doing? Like, why are we... Guys, there's... Oh my gosh, I don't know where it's going. Like, I know where it's going. But it's really fun, because this is what we love about the series, is the fact that it's like, it's weird, it's wacky, there's a lot of things that don't make sense. It's not perfect, but it's enough there to get the interest of the community to start talking and having discussions about the stuff in it. Which I think has always been the magic, right? Nah. I thought I was like... I don't know. I don't know how people talk over music. It's kind of hard. My brain is like moving a million miles an hour. I gotta stare at this mind map for a second so I can like collect my thoughts together. Sorry, guys. Oh man. But yeah, one of the things that I was wanting to do in addition to talking about the FNAF 2 movie is I wanted to talk about the Ultimate Guide 2.0, specifically Chica's Party World, Secret Party World. I'm wondering too if there's been any updates on it, like anything in relation to like Scott saying anything about it. I'm sure Twitter's blowing up with all sorts of stuff about it. Oh my gosh, I can like just imagine. Oh man, this man, this movie has like so much stuff to it. It's crazy. Hold on. Ooh, that's cool. It's kind of cool. Steelwool Studios released like a little behind the scenes for how they came up with the mimic. I thought that's really cool. Oh man. Gosh. Okay, hold on. I need to stop getting distracted. Let me check one more thing. Okay. Alright, anyways, there's nothing there. At some point, Scott's gonna have to answer for parties, Chica's secret party, eventually. We're gonna have to force him. We're gonna have to be like, Scott, give us answers, please. But knowing this film, it it gave us some answers for certain things, definitely. I feel like this video is like filled with like weird, awkward silence at certain points, and I think that's really funny. It's just like something you gotta understand about my brain is like, look, like if you want to know how my brain works. So, for context, this is like the mind map that I was working on earlier. You can go and check out those live streams where I was like working on this. I barely worked on any more of it, but I want to. Ever since the Ultimate Guide 2.0 came in, I was like starting on mapping out like the books for like some of the summaries, using some of the like the official summaries for like the twisted like the novel trilogy. Um so the main crux of this discussion that I really wanted to have actually is connected to the Silver Eyes trilogy. This is the Twisted Ones. Scott just like this story. Like when I say I know what this is, I know what Scott's doing. This movie is the Twisted Ones, right? And I mean that in more ways than one, right? So like the Silver Eyes first book, and you're like, why am I talking about the Silver Eyes trilogy? Oh, trust me, just wait, because okay, so the first movie has pretty simple premise, right? Somebody's trying to remember their past, dive into their memories in relations to a kidnapped child, who they're trying to figure out the identity of the killer, right? And they come across Freddy's, and like they explore Freddy's and come across William Afton. They don't know it's William Afton, right? The FNAF movie one, I think we can all agree, guys, it's just the Silver Eyes, right? In disguise. It's the Silver Eyes with the game story laid on top of it. And I think that's always what the Silver Eyes has been, right? Is the 4 games that were made at the time, like including Sister Location, but I think that's a little bit complicated whenever it comes to the Silver Eyes trilogy, because I think honestly Sister Location is honestly a result of the books rather than being an extension of it. It's a little bit of a weird topic to get onto. The FNAF 2 movie is the Twisted Ones, right? In a lot of ways. A lot. With the games napped over top, right? There's a lot of a lot of references to it. Specifically in the ending, there's like a very, like spoilers, obviously, a very direct references to the Twisted Ones ending. If you know, you know. But the Twisted Ones is also being referenced in another way, in the way that Scott's setting up this trilogy, right? The first movie in the first book, The Silver Eyes, was a self-contained story. Like you could, from finish to start, It had its characters, it had good moments. It was not perfect, but like some of the best characterizations we've ever gotten from the books, right? They introduced William Afton, Henry Emily, Charlie as a character, right? So you got like a lot of the characterizations that we have ran with in all our fan theories in relations to like the games and stuff and how they kind of connect. But the twisted ones, right, is where Scott went off the rails, where Scott basically like took a lot of sci-fi elements, which he enjoys, which he loves, and I think that it's fair that like this is his franchise. He's gonna do whatever the heck he wants to, and we're there for the ride. We enjoy this whether we admit it or not, right? This movie is the twisted ones in the way that it sets itself up, right? It's a direct 1 year after the events of the first movie, just like the twisted ones. The entire story is surrounded about these new animatronics that nobody knew about before that go out, and like the trailers even kind of hinted at that they're gonna try to kill everybody, right? We don't know why. And then like the twisted ones, at least for the books, it's revealed that, oh, it was William Afton who was controlling them wirelessly through their choreography program, right? There's this whole like wireless signal, right, that William Afton is using in the twisted runs, right, to control the animatronics from a different location. So the puppet, this is going to be funny out of context. Spoilers, the puppet is William Afton in this context, right? So that sounds really funny. That's like Toy Chica is William Afton, but we're bringing it back, baby. The puppet is William Afton in this case. So it's using the same concept from the Twisted Ones overlapped with the games, right? So like it's using the whole puppet motif as a way of being like, the puppet is using a wireless signal to control the animatronics, to do its bidding, and it's wanting to go and kill people. Now, why, you might be asking, would the puppet want to hurt people? That gets into some of the motivations, and that's where we get into a little bit of my criticism. I don't really enjoy the motivation of the puppet. I think it's really... I don't know how to feel about it. Like, honestly, I think it's kind of silly in one aspect, but also a part of my brain is like, nah, there's a lot more to this film that I feel like there's a lot of the puppet motif throughout, right? And my immediate wonder, right, is the puppet really... Is it really doing it for, like... It feels weird, the reasons why it's doing what it's doing. It feels a little bit like... I don't know, it feels off, like there's something more to it. But it also could just be that, right? And like Henry whatever, I don't know his last name, Henry Emily, I guess. I don't think Emily is actually his last name. I think that's Charlie's middle name, likely, to be quite frank. There's a particular character that gets involved, and it's a big reveal, and I think his influence within the story is much bigger than we know, right? And there's also like the question of why it feels weird, right? I don't know if anyone understands what I'm trying to get at. Like, since this is a spoiler stream, you guys have been amply warned. I'll just say what it is, what the whole entire puppet's motivation is for the film, right? So the entire motivation, and again, this movie is very new, so if you're like wanting to watch it, go watch it. Don't listen to me. The The motivation for the puppet is that it wants to kill parents because it blames them. Instead of William Afton, it like, and again, we're talking spoilers, guys. So if you've watched the movie, you can like comment below and give me your thoughts of what you thought about the film, right? Your personal, because I enjoyed it. Like, any criticisms I'm giving are on top of the fact that I loved this movie, and it's weird, and it's Scott's fingerprints all over it. But the whole motivation of the puppet is that, like, in the beginning section of the movie, you find out that, like, the puppet's whole thing of, like, it was holding on to, like, it held others in her arms. That's literal in this case. Like, she literally saves a victim from the grasp of Afton. And the whole thing is like, nobody believes her that something's weird is happening. The timeline here is super interesting. According to the film, so we're perfectly clear, the original pizzeria is Fredbear's Family Diner in parallel. So the original location that's being acted as if it's like the FNAF 2 location, that is Fredbear's Family Diner, but the movie's parallel so that it can be FNAF 2. But the timeline, the events, everything that we know is in line with this being a Fredbear's Family Diner location. And the reason I say that is because like, the whole thing of, like, it happens in 1982. The whole significance of 1982 is that in Silver Eyes, we find out that Charlie's brother was taken, her brother was taken in 1982, right? We later find out that it was actually her. And, like, there's a lot of differences here. First of all, Charlie is much, much older than in the books, right? So there's that big difference. She is friends with Vanessa, which is something that I kind of, like, thought in the back of my mind, kind of theorized that I figured that was going to be the case, that, like, Charlie and Vanessa would have been friends. It just kind of makes sense, to be honest. It's really sad because she tries to stop Charlie, and that's a whole thing. Like, that's really sad. This is like, gosh, she can't save anybody. I think that's quite literally the point, is like the whole thing of, like, the FNAF 2 minigame of, like, the puppet trying to save the souls and Afton being like, you can't, has a lot more weight whenever you consider this film. Oh my goodness, that scene of that beginning part. I cannot express to you how good the reveal is of Charlie's death. The reveal, you have to see that scene. The opening scene of the movie is so freaking good because it sets you up for something and, like, you expect something else. And the way that it rug pulls you is so completely, like, it feels like it should be obvious, right? But it just does it in a way that's like, oh my gosh, that's, like, surprisingly horrific in the way that it reveals it. The like, kind of poetic nature of, like, the scene after that beginning part where it's like the puppet comes out and it's holding oh, it's a good scene. It's a really good scene. But the whole part of that, right, is like, that's her motivation, is that, like, Charlie looks at all of the people around her and is like, none of them helped me, and I hate them, and I want them to die now. That's her motivations for this film, is that she wants all parents to die. Which, again, it fits with FNAF 2 because of the freaking phone guy reference to, like, oh, she looks at adults and it just stares. They just stare at them. It gives motivations for why that is, because we come to find out none of the other animatronics in this FNAF 2 location are possessed. It gives, like, the save them minigame. Well, it almost, okay, I think that the idea, um, oh, this is getting my mind to think. Then again, I know I said that it was Fredbear's Family Diner in parallel, but maybe it's not. Maybe there was actually an original location that kind of was like nobody knew about because of the tragedies and stuff. In that case, because with the FNAF references of like it being a grand reopening, like it makes sense that it would be in a way. And it is kind of weird to think that like the toy animatronics are in pristine condition and that's kind of like called out. Um Also, like the ending is just really funny. Like frustratingly funny in the best ways possible. It is okay for an ending to be both frustrating and also really good. Uh in a weird way, because it's like, Scott, why did you just do that to me? How dare you? Yeah, but the ending is like a major cliffhanger that I'm still gonna have to think about. It makes sense for where it's going. It's just like, you really want a FNAF 3. Scott just is like, it has to happen now. It just has to. I don't care how much money this it has to get a FNAF 3 at this point. Scott has made it to where this movie is unwatchable unless there is assurances that we get a third movie, which is brilliant, I guess. I just wish that like the writing was a little bit more tighter, and I feel like it could have been if maybe it would have gone through a couple more passes, but I think that Scott wanted it the way that it was, and I think he's stubborn, quite frankly. So I think that like a lot of the awkward dialogue kind of came from like Scott having greater control over the writing of the film, which is fine. Like I think that Scott's writing has grown on me quite a bit, so I kind of like I'm able to read in between the lines, see what kind of is being said there. Um, it's really funny though. There is one part though, right? So the the big question that I have, right, is Mike Schmidt and Mike Afton in the game separate people? Because that's a big question that I'm having to rack my mind around because of some recent things that have come out, namely the and we talked about this on stream too, if you were any of you guys were there, and you could check it out too, where I went live over the Artifact Relic collection that came out recently. That kit is really, really cool. The thing is that's relevant, it's framed around FNAF 2. Like it's framed around the FNAF 2 location. And I feel like that's purposeful, and I feel like it kind of ties into this film in a way, in a weird way. It both does and doesn't. But the main reveal is that the hidden text is being sent out by Mike Schmidt. But the messages being sent out are very direct in comparison to the survival logbook. Mike Schmidt knows exactly what's happening. Unlike the security logbook, which presumably is Mike Afton. And it's a weird thing of like, are the roles reversed in a weird way? Like, who the heck is Mike Schmidt in the games? That's the question I'm starting to ask. Is like, are they really the same people? Because they're reading the Five Nights at Freddy's Survival Guide and this new Relic collection of the things that he's talking about. There's connections, but it's like there's also a very difference in tone, and it's very clear that Mike Schmidt is a child, seemingly, at the point of writing the like hidden text. And he directly tells the Night Guard that you aren't going to survive. It says like, we are going to save, you might even save someone, and there's hidden in the text, it says, but not you. And it's kind of a crazy line, but like Mike Schmidt is the one who is saying this, and it doesn't make any sense. And I've just been thinking about that. Is like, who are these people, really? Do we really know these people? Do we know them as well as we think we do in our fan theories? And it's got me to think back to that Matthew Lillard interview where he says Scott has made it very clear the fans have their interpretation, and he has very much stuck to his. And the movies are a parallel to that vision, right? And are meant to give the fans more clarity and more clear answers as to what the games are talking about. And very much this gives us some answers, and it looks like we over analyzed everything to death, and connected way more things that should not have been connected, based on things like Mike Schmidt and Mike Afton. Michael and Mike might be completely different people. The Wizards are not possessed. The toys aren't possessed. It's all the puppet. The puppet is the puppet master. The books might have been right in that Charlie might have died in 1982, which is interesting. That was kind of referenced in the lead up to like FNAF 4 with the secret code that everybody kind of forgot about, where it says 1982. And it kind of makes it to where Charlie's death is a lot earlier than we thought. It also might have happened at Freddy's instead of Fredbear's. There's some very clear, again, the character of Charlie and the character of the FNAF 4 crying child have such strong parallels when it comes to like the Silver Eyes and this story. It's kind of crazy. Like the whole idea of like it was framed as an accident, but it really wasn't very clearly, is kind of interesting. And like you look at one of the questions that I have is how much else have we assumed? Like the connection between Mike and the bully, the Foxy bully. Is that as strong as we think it is, right? Like we don't really get any indications or any connections from the survival logbook that Mike Afton has any connections to the crying child, like at all. Like if you actually look at the sister location and the dialogue that Michael Afton says to his father in references, it is strictly talking about his sister, right? That is the sole focus, is his relationship with his sister. And while yes, that is unlocked by getting the Golden Freddy like mode for that, the whole connections of like it feels like very weird. Like I don't know necessarily if those two stories are necessarily as connected as we think they are. Maybe they're connected in other ways. But I don't know, it makes me want to revisit the games and just to kind of like revisit the very base ideas that we have as a community and just to re-question some things. And that's something Scott told us to do a while back with when the Fazbear Fight series was coming out, where he was like, you know, a lot of people are going to look back and are going to analyze the games and they're going to find things, and some people will like it, some people won't. But there's a lot of things that like this community has assumed, right? And I think this movie kind of highlights a lot of them. It's kind of interesting. In relation to that, oh my gosh. Oh man. Yeah, it's so crazy to me. I just the whole realization that this is Scott's Twisted Ones, in which it shows a lot of like concepts that is very clearly meant to like set up later things. It makes me think that like, okay, we can look at the first two movies, we can start to theorize what the third one's going to be about, and we're going to have a lot of the pieces here that are going to foreshadow. I also guarantee you that the book is going to potentially give us some insights too, into some stuff potentially. I don't know. We'll see how that pans out. Um, yeah, there's a lot of interesting things. And I think another thing too, right, is like the whole point of like the encyclopedia not mentioning Michael Afton is such an interesting inclusion. Like the Ultimate Guide 2.0 is very much fan focused in its whole layout. It very much is like these are the fan theories, right? And there's a lot of things that kind of get poked out. of like these are what the fans think, right? Rather than like this is what is the truth. It's interesting. The field. Um, this is just such a connecting points to this in relation to ruin and stuff. Oh man, there's a lot of stuff here. This is just a bunch of crap. Anyways, you guys aren't here to see all that. Ah man. But yeah, so if any of you guys have seen the movie and want to comment down below like what you guys think about it, what your thoughts are, I really want to like engage. And I know that like probably not a whole lot of people have unfortunately seen the movie yet, which I know is like a big thing. But I also know a lot of people have based on like the engagement. So that's good. But I probably won't stream for too long. Honestly, I'm tired and I want to probably stream some more tomorrow, quite frankly. I also need to get some water. I've got some water over there. Hold on. Let me just go ahead and grab some water real quick. Yes. When your apartment is like so small that you just have to like go across the little gap to get what you need. Water break, everybody. Take a water break. I was very sad to see that Michael Afton was not British. I thought that would have been a really funny thing if he was actually British. It's not, but you know. It could have been something very funny. So, too, one of the other things that's kind of interesting is the way that, like, the puppet surprisingly is very active in this movie, which I thought William Afton would have played a little bit of a larger role in this, but he was in like one scene, not like just one scene, but like he was a key part in one, but what he says in that scene has a lot of greater importance. And it's really interesting. I don't know what to think about it. There's also, there's one character that is shown that I've not talked about that I don't know how to feel about. It has a lot of implications about timeline of things. So, also, my goodness, did it look good though? So, I almost feel like it's like I shouldn't say it because it's such a massive spoiler, but it's also such a massive surprise, and it doesn't really play any part. It just kind of is there, and I feel like it has to mean something. It can't just Scott. You can't just put that in the movie, by the way, and that just be an Easter egg. You have seeded out something that I have. Oh my gosh, there's so many freaking things that I could. The whole part that Charlie is such a big character in this movie, and this is like such a mirror of the novels, has me so scared for what the third movie is going to be about, because every part, the one character that never gets like name dropped at all is Garrett. Garrett is just gone in this film. Like Mike talks about him once, and it's very similar. It's so similar to the Twisted Ones, where it's like it's not necessarily exactly the same, because in the Twisted Ones, Charlie actually gets quite obsessed with Sammy, with like the whole thing of like, oh, he's knocking, I feel like he's like with me, his spirit. Mike isn't like that. However, I don't know, there's some yeah, there's a lot of weird threads that kind of get loose in this movie. But I don't know. It's all kind of weird to articulate. It's hard to figure out how to say everything. By the way, if you're wondering what this is my mind map for all, like, theories and stuff. I don't know. It's something to look at, I guess. But here, I am going to switch over, and I say we take a look at, who done? When this is coming out. That's going out on May 5th. The Five Nights at Freddy's novel movie. Yeah. Yep. That's definitely going to be one that I get and read. Because I read all the things. That is what I do. I wanted to look at... Hold on. Count. I wanted to look at the Ultimate Guide 2 and see what we can find out, because I know, like, I've been reading it on my own time. We can, like, talk about the movie as well in relation to this, because particularly I want to go back and look at some of the other sections in relation to the puppet, because the puppet is not as innocent as we thought, and I think that's interesting. But I wanted to go back and look at the Ultimate Guide, maybe check out some of the sections relating to the puppet. I think that's really fun. Potentially, maybe there's some, like, I don't know, hints or clues about what the movie, how it relates to the games. I don't think he changed really much in relations to, like, the Fnaf 2 movie, but I think it'd be interesting to kind of look back at that whole section. But overall, I mean, I like this book. I like the layout of it. It's very fun. It's not perfect. There's a lot of mistakes in it, but I think it's interesting. And definitely Chica's Secret Party is something to look at. But I thought it'd be fun to go through and look at the FNAF 2 section. See if there's anything interesting in that. Then where FNAF takes place is just one of many FNAF locations. Hands of instead directed over towards divinifying. Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, then FNAF 2. Oh man. We meet again, phone guy. The terror continues in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And I think that a lot of this is the same. Plus there's frightening long list of to-dos, keep the music wound. Yeah. Yeah, the death mini games are interesting. I wonder if those will have any recontextualizations from things we've seen. Yeah. There were some fun moments with, like, the mask and stuff. Very bad at the old location. Bad had happened. The old location. Including facial recognition systems, which, interestingly enough, we see the facial recognition systems in, an activity, which is kind of funny. There is a reference to Security Breach, which is kind of funny. Buildings, old animatronics are seen creepily in the back, but they're now used for spare parts. They're not exactly the same. Check the animatronic inventory for specifics. Yeah, so that's something that's revealed, is the fact that, like, the withered animatronics aren't possessed. They're just literally old prototype animatronics that were put in the back for spare parts. That literally is it. It is not any deeper than that. They aren't possessed. They aren't the old animatronics from FNAF 1. Those are completely different. This is the Marionette's domain. This is her story. FNAF 2 is entirely about the puppet, and we made it about everybody else for some reason. But no, the puppet is the main focus of FNAF 2, and I think that's true for the game as well. It's scrutiny doors, yeah. Kind of funny. End of night hallucinations. This is interesting in the way that this contextualizes some things. When you first boot up the game as well, yeah, in the wearing Freddy Fazbear head. First time you see, yep. And these are like the FNAF 1 designs. These aren't the Wizards. So that's kind of interesting. Mate back in 1987, yeah. Um, it is interesting. The reason they fire Mike from Fnaf. Yeah, tampering. Which I quite frankly think that Fritz Smith is just a nobody. Probably an excuse to get to have an extra night. Um, and I think the idea of them tampering with the animatronics is quite frankly probably just a joke about the fact that you're like upping in universe, you're upping their behavior to make it harder for yourself, which is kind of funny. There's no references to the Mind of 87, funny enough. I kind of find that really unfortunate. Um, this is interesting. So, Shadow Bonnie disappear in the movie, which is kind of crazy. Is the gift box in the prize corner. The music runs out. You can still wind the music box so long as the puppet still appears in the camera shot. If the puppet hasn't fully escaped yet, you can keep the flashlight. Oh, by the way, also the puppet just flies. It is completely able to do that. Or it can occasionally be seen standing on the left side of the office looking at. Yeah. Flashlights. Yeah, that's interesting because that happens. And that's an interesting character. And this has specifics towards like the AIs, which I think is cool. Like there's a lot of specific information about that. But I want to look at the lore specifically. Save them. Almost everything about this game is different, but one thing stays the same. Click on the poster. Yeah, that's funny. Dying in FNAF 2 might trigger one of the several minigames rendered in 8-bit graphics. Yeah, the minigame is known as Save Them. The phrase spelled out by the letters you will hear being called out using the keyboard for movement. You, as Freddy, follow the puppet through a map of the restaurant until reaching the prize corner. You'll pass slumped over children, pools of blood along the way. And then, yeah, appears. You can't save them. Which is interesting. It implies that, like, that's like a big thing with Charlie in this movie is like the fact that she literally witnesses William almost killing a child. It is probably one of the most unnerving things I've seen from this franchise. It is horrific. Like that, just like the whole scene is so unnerving. It's man. They have interesting because what it tells me, right, and this is something that the movie explicitly follows, and it's something that I never thought about. The whole idea of these minigames is showing you that nobody sees what's happening. Like nobody cares except for the puppet, right? Like the puppet is the one who's trying to go out and save the children, and William keeps telling her, you can't. There's somebody outside of Freddy's that is like trapped and crying, and nobody sees them, right? They're completely out there in the middle of nowhere. You see in Foxy Go Go Go, Foxy goes out and like into this room, and it's like a bunch of joy and happiness, and then one day Foxy goes in and he sees what's happening, and it's like nobody else is seeing this though, you know? So it's like maybe that's the whole point, right? Maybe that's what Scott was trying to get with this, is that like everything, one of these incidences that has been witnessed by the puppet are things that have been unseen by other people but has only been seen by her, and nobody can do anything now. I think that's kind of interesting. Because, yeah, returning to the starting position. Last thing you do, purple guy is visible. Yeah, so purple guy is there. With the fuck to jump scare. It's never explained why Foxy is not. Well, so the implication is like the facial recognition with Foxy is broken, which is interesting. Here's over children's heads. Help them. Once again, letters are being called out. Help them. You're also earning a score for giving the gifts, but numbers change from random sequence when the minigame ends with Golden Freddy's jump scare. Yeah, so like, huh. So for the spear, interesting. This is an angle that I never really saw before on this child. Just before the fifth child in the center of the room. Way back. Yeah, interesting. You're also earning score for giving the gifts. So, what was the gift that she gave? Was it that she gave them life? Um, because well, yeah, give gifts, give life, right? So she's giving life, but why? Because we know that like William already stuffed the children into the animatronics on his own. The puppet didn't do that. Uh, so what life was that? Originates from the children. Scare originates from the child, perhaps implying that the puppet placed a fifth animatronic head on this child. Interesting. Yeah. And it's like almost like a sense of hopelessness, like you can't do anything about this. Tells us on that previous location was left to rot after something terrible happened there. Called Fredbear's Family Diner, which was apparently franchised out to create the other locations, which was reiterated in the Silver Eyes novel, in which Charlie tracked down the old diner and it was revealed that a single child had gone missing there. Except that thread with the HR secret audio file in the closing sequence of the game. Yeah, revealing that it was her. In the FNAF 2 restaurant, similar to the camera map, there are 5 dead children as well. The guy also looks different. He's now wearing something gold on his chest. His hand. Yeah. Which, that now looking at it, that could be Michael Afton because he's wearing that same uniform that we see here, uh, which is interesting. And some of the things that he talks about too. I don't know. That's kind of like an off branch thing that we just haven't thought about yet. That probably will be a discussion later on. A cake is believed to take place at Fredbear's. It consists of only one room and street, denoting a smaller location. Looks different. Yeah. Take cake to the children. Which is interesting. Yeah. So this was definitely, that was the puppet. And so like the idea that she was left alone outside where nobody saw her, and how she like connected that to the other children where like nobody saw them either. Um it also maybe potentially shows like the same resentment towards people that we see in the movie, which is kind of interesting. So there are a few theories. Yeah. Yep. So there's not too much talked about for FNAF 2. Although I'm also curious about something else. One of the interesting things that I was thinking about, in relation to this is the story You're the Band. In which, like, and again, that is a story that includes somebody named Mike who's a security guard, right? And who knows about the children, about everything that's happening. And it's a really interesting one because it includes something about the puppet, and it's like about a kid who like accidentally gets possessed by one of the kid's spirits by wearing like a spare Freddy head. It's really interesting. It's actually a really good story. Um, the interesting thing that I keep thinking about is the puppet is referred to as the Shadow, which, if you remember in Ultimate Custom Night, Nightmare mentions like even the Shadow is afraid of me. Even like the Shadow fears me. Is interesting. So it's like, is that a reference to the puppet? Is the puppet afraid of Nightmare? And considering how closely related they are, it's kind of interesting, you know. We also get one of the answers for like a context of one of the voice lines from Ultimate Custom Night, which the context for that is it's so good. I love that line. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff to talk about that, and I feel like I'll probably have more uh thoughts tomorrow whenever I have a little bit more of a collected brain. But I just want to give my initial thoughts of all of this because I think it's interesting. Yeah. Man, I wish that this was on streaming so that I could like watch it again. But I can't, unfortunately. But I'm probably gonna end it here. Just wanted to like do a quick stream, explain my thoughts. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know it was like kind of full of like a lot of awkward silence, but I was just trying to get my thoughts together. But I hope you enjoyed my rambling, and I will see you guys next time. I'll see you guys probably tomorrow, where I'll probably be playing some games and looking some more at the Ultimate Guide, as well as working on my mind map for this stuff. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if you want to hear my thoughts, go back to the beginning. But it's mostly full of me just rambling, so you're good. Overall, just go watch the movie. It's a lot of fun. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I'll see you guys